Hello, everybody. I am really excited today to bring you Rabbi Schachtel, who is originally from Australia, lives in Muncie, New York, and has made a lot of matches, not just in New York, but in the whole world. And I wanted to learn from him today, and I wanted to share that learning with everybody else. I have a problem of having a lot of women that I want to set up, and they're maybe in their late 30s or 40s or mid 30s, and they really want to get married. They tell me they really want to get married, but they're not open to relocation, or relocation makes them nervous. They don't want to leave their families. They have a great job. Everybody gets comfortable in their own comfort zone, and they don't really want to leave it. But I am coming to Rabbi Schachtel today as an amazing person who really understands people, and I'd like to hear what he has to say, and I want to share it with you. So, Rabbi Schachtel, please take it away and help me with this problem that I'm having when I'm trying to make matches.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for that glorious introduction. I'm really a very simple person, very, very simple. But I do get a great degree of satisfaction, as I'm sure you do, or any other matchmaker does, from bringing two people together, and then they go and build a family. So that's an enormous joy that all of us experience at some point. For example, there are people that we'll start off with the United States of America. Within the United States, there are, fortunately, Jewish people living, I think, in almost every state that there is. And I make that deduction because I understand that there's a wonderful organization called Lubavitch, and they have locations in almost, I would imagine in almost every state in the United States.
Even in my home state in Alaska.
Or even in the home state of Alaska. Wow. And Alaska is, as we call it, that great state of Alaska. Excites me to talk to someone from Alaska. So it is very hard to detach. Similarly, for a man, it is very hard to detach. I'm trying to zero in on this point for illustrations and then come back to the general topic. I introduced a girl from New Jersey, which is the state next to New York. Prefer not to say the city. And she met a man from London. So this gentleman came from London. They met. And please don't get the wrong orientation. Some people need to go out 8 times, 10 times, 12 times. It's very healthy to go out a number of times and then come to a determination whether this is something that is good for me, in the sense that will be a life partner, will nurture me nurture her, and so on. It's building a major enterprise. So to go from that safety zone of Alaska, let's say Anchorage, Alaska, or from Melbourne, Australia, and come all the way over here to Muncie, the little hamlet of Muncie, or that big city of Seattle, you have a beautiful city, by the way, is a major undertaking. It takes a lot of courage. And as anything that we do in life, there has to be a major motivator. So let's say a person is looking to enhance their career, which hopefully everyone is trying to do, unless the only reason a person would not want to enhance their career is they feel they're doing great things for mankind exactly where they are. And since we want to do what's called an Avodah Hashem, being a servant, or fitting into the primary goal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of bringing light to the world, or Torah light to the world. So as a consequence of that, there are people that will say, I will not leave. There are other people that will say, I will not leave my home city, for a very simple reason, that they feel that it's called the insecurity. The insecurity of, there's like an inertia, leaving a place where things are well, and taking that experiment of going somewhere else. And that insecurity is keeping a lot of people at this level of job as against this level, or this level, and this level. So it's, why be experimental if we're very happy where we are, or think we're very happy where we are? Happiness the way the Torah describes this, and I really look at life and see things through the prism of Torah. Torah tells us, the Holy Torah tells us, that we have a purpose in life. The purpose is to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, emotionally, spiritually, physically, close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and hopefully get married, build a family, and then have children with the help of the Almighty, and then inculcate values to the children that will emulate your values, whether they be chesed, which is kindness, whether they be Torah study, which is studying the Almighty's Torah. And in that Torah, it tells us this is the obligation that we have. This is the expectation of the Almighty, our Father in heaven, and to build a family. To arrive at that point of building a family, we do need to take some courageous steps. One of them is to take the effort in a professional way, in a very carefully planned way, to build a family, first meet that person that's called the spouse, and build a family, and then hopefully have your children espouse those values that you feel are important, and the children will perpetuate them.
The biggest problem is they're close to their family, I think. That's what I've heard. They just don't want to leave their mom, who's maybe a widow, or they don't want to leave their parents, so they don't want to leave their nephews, or that seems to be the biggest. Then I have one lady in California who had to put in 1,000 hours, to get her degree in marriage therapy, family and marriage counseling, something like that. And she would have to start all over in another state. But is that really a reason not to relocate? Help me help them. I don't know what to say.
Wow, that is a very, very difficult question. And
I personally think a woman should follow her man. I think a woman needs to put her husband first in her life and build her life around him. When I see women who write in a Shidduch profile, I want a man to join me on my journey through life. It says something. They don't realize what they said. A woman is supposed to join a man on his journey and make it their journey. This is really the Torah way. Is we're the Ezer Kenegdo. We're the support. But Western culture has brainwashed women. And they don't understand, I believe, the Torah value of a woman is to get married and support their man. And if it means moving to Milwaukee or Houston or Las Vegas, if you want to create something big in the world, I think you need to follow your man. Yeah, and that's just, there are women who are divorced and have kids and they don't want to upset their kids. Their kids have been, upset enough. They can't move maybe because of custody. I get that, but they might have to wait till their kids are bigger than to actually get married, unless, I don't know. That's a whole nother problem. But we can focus on the single girls. I have women 43, 40, 35 that don't either want to leave their family. And then that one case where she doesn't want to start over professionally, that she's already 34. What do we do now? Tell me your Torah perspective.
You're really presenting very emotional, very, very difficult cases, but it's a reality case. I think I should respond. It's terrible to respond first to the end and then the beginning. But I had a girl, which means a young lady, who came to me at 44 and a half, who had never been married before. And I introduced her. I mean, I had to wait about 2 weeks till the right guy arrived, but I introduced her to the gentleman of 42. So it was 2.5 years difference. And he was divorced. He had children. I think he had 2 children. And I'll never forget when they went to the chuppah, which means when they were going towards getting married under the canopy, under the chuppah, they were singing, the music was Ani Ma'amin Be'emunah Shlema B'Viyas HaMashiach. I sincerely believe and I wait for that great, great joy of the coming of the Messiah. This was at 44 and a half. And she said to me, Rabbi Schachtel, I want to tell you, you have saved my life. You know, you should know that you've saved my life. And then about a year and about 3 months later, I get a call, and she says, Rabbi Schachtel, you have saved my life. I said, we talked about all that at the wedding. She said, no, you got to realize I just brought a baby girl into the world. I never thought in my life I would be zeicher, I would merit to such an incredible joy, a personal joy. So, you know, you talked about 42, I've got 44 and a half. I've got so many similar stories that it's painful to realize that a person, obviously opportunities came up, and obviously intelligence or circumstances helped the person determine that this one was not for me, and so on. There's just so many cases like that. I mean, the other one, and then we'll get back to you, get back to your text. The other case that really upsets me is that a woman of 29 was suggested to a man of 39. And she said to me, I'm going to marry an old man. I'm 29 and he's 39. You realize he's over the bridge, so to speak. He's different. And 10 years went by. This is sad. Nothing happened for her in this regard, and nothing happened for him in this regard in terms of getting married. So it was reintroduced, and they got married, and they had a child, a girl. I think they had a girl. I'm not sure. But all I know is that so many people have gone through sad. I mean, that's the most tragic hardship you can possibly, well, one of the most tragic. In other words, spent 10 years of their lives instead of nurturing each other, living together, just having the joy of living together. And we can talk a lot about the joy of living together. But the beginning part, you said that it's so hard for women, or the role of women in married life. Yes, it says to be an Ezer Kenegdoi, to be an enabler, is a tremendous privilege for a woman. And there are many women in today's society, because it's a societal structure, where there's me, you know, that I want to accomplish something for myself. So the self is very important. But the Torah perspective, as I see it, is that, or the way I've been educated, is that women can be, as you mentioned, an Ezer Kenegdoi, enabling their husband. Reminds me of a thing I just heard. There's a cleaning service here in America, in Muncie, called, I don't know, I forget the name. And they said a happy wife is a happy life. In other words, if the wife is happy, you will be happy. And if the wife is unhappy, you'll be miserable. So that being the case, a happy wife is one of the greatest concerns in the Torah world as to how to make a wife happy. It says, for example, to be mechabed her, to give her more honor than you would give to yourself, to love her more than yourself. That's really saying a profound statement, to give the wife tremendous, tremendous honor. Compliments, endless compliments, helping to build her in that sense. But one of the things that I've found, some ladies that have come my way here looking for a shidduch, say to me, you know, being a lady, I'm going to have to put up with a lot. It's almost like they feel like they're a service provider. They say, when I have children, I'm going to have to feed the children, clean the children, and so on. You know, various things. So I say, who says that he shouldn't play a role in this? Your husband is your husband, who's supposed to honor you more than he honors himself. He's supposed to, so teach him how to change a diaper. Teach him how to feed a child, how to bathe a child. It's not that hard. Actually, it's a great joy, and there's cackling, and there's so on. But from a spiritual point of view, I always do tend to come back to a spiritual point of view. I had the privilege of speaking, of learning with great Torah scholars, very great leaders of the generation. And they really depicted it with a very nice example. You know, when you're having a yogurt, you open the yogurt and there's a spoon, and you take the spoon as the vehicle that you put the yogurt into your mouth. Oh, And every spoon that you put in the child's mouth, according to the Torah, is a very holy mitzvah. I should come back to your point. It's very hard for a woman to leave wherever she is. It is very, very hard. And I, being an Australian, born and raised in Australia, can tell you it's very hard going from the other end of the world to this end of the world. Actually, I went to Israel, to Jerusalem, to Yerushalayim. But I had the desire to learn Torah. I had a desire to be in a top yeshiva. So I did the ultimate, leaving a very well-paying job and going off to Yerushalayim. Greatest joy in my life. That joy was coupled with meeting my wife. And that joy is further enhanced by building a family. So it was a very courageous move. I gave up an incredible career of futurist research. Not very hard to get, very, very hard to get back into that kind of area. Certainly not at the level that I achieved. Got to the yeshiva, gamble, right? May take off, may not. Took off very well, Baruch Hashem. Again, I pray. I speak to the Almighty, help me. And this is one of the things that would help everyone if they just realized, I have all the talents I've been given. I have the intelligence I've been given. I'm disciplined, I'm not disciplined, whatever I might, but I need help. I need help from the Almighty. I need help from professionals. I need help from people that can be a mentor, people that, there are many difficulties that we face in life where we can turn to someone and get that crucial help. When it comes to marrying someone, there's a fundamental thing that a girl should consider. And I'm going to get back to you spoke about a girl, Holocaust, and so on. You know exactly where you are or what you're alluding to, because I'm the child of Holocaust survivors. So I know how hard it is to leave a parent geographically. You never leave a parent. A fundamental principle in Torah, you must give honor to your father and mother. Even after they're deceased, you must give honor to your father and your mother. A woman has a tremendous role to take that initiative to help to build a family. That role is usually called the enabler. But to reach becoming the enabler, you have to make certain very difficult decisions. A wife will be happy, it's pretty conditional on what I'm about to say, if a husband is happy. A husband, wherever he is, has a job. If he has to leave New York City to go to Los Angeles, which is a beautiful city, would have to start looking to establish himself in Parnassa again, a new income, a new place. Secondly, even more important, he has a minion that he davens with in New York, would have to find something equivalent in Los Angeles. Risky, very, very risky. He has a chavrusa that he's learning with, or a spiritual shir that he's attending, and it's helping him grow in Torah, which will be transmitted to the wife, to the family, to the children. And he has to start that again in Los Angeles. Extreme risk. When you add up parnasa, which every family needs, spirituality, the husband can and should, and usually does, transmit that to his wife, his family. Those indicators and his own spiritual growth, his own ability to have a relationship with a rabbi, which usually, I probably should say the 90th percentile, brings to a lot less family stress by husband having a close connection to a rabbi. Some people do it by look for looks. Some people look for spirituality. Some people look for different things. I mean, one of my successful shidduchim was, he liked walking, she liked walking. That was the first common denominator, as stupid as it sounds. And I said, why don't you two of you go for a walk? A long walk, a couple of miles walk. And they got, well, end of the story, they got married, they're very happy, they have children. But there are so many different things that people do. It's not a mathematical formula. And the last comment is bring Hashem into your life. Bring the Almighty into your life. There's nothing that cannot be accomplished through prayer. Pray to Hashem. Say some Tehillim. Concentrate on what you're saying. Say less, but know what you're saying. the translation of the words. Say it with feeling. There is nothing, and in this chapter, and it's a difficult chapter, finding a shidduch, the right shidduch, that will give me happiness, that will give me spiritual enhancement, that will give me ability to raise a family, that we should do that happily, and all that. Don't stop praying. Prayer and finding a good Shadchan or a mentor or whoever you need to find will get you there.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you for your time from your very busy schedule. And I hope women will take it to heart and men will take it to heart that people need to be flexible and really do the Almighty's will of building a Bayis Ne'eman. I think that's what we all want, is we want more couples that are Kiddush Hashem and that walk in the ways of our ancestors. That's what we need. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
Well, bracha v'atzlacha.